Now, British SIS, right? I know you're listening to all my things I do and my telephone lines, but I mean, are you worried about your $600 billion a year cancer industry? You know, what about the $60 billion a year just on chemo? I mean, that was back in the 90s, so you know, people, I don't know what it is now, but that's what it was. So now you can see why they protect it, you know. I mean, it won't do good for the gross domestic product. Eric won't be doing the gross domestic product very well, will he? Because what you've got to remember is all this medical quackery, most of it goes back towards this gross domestic product, because we're manufacturing less. We have to make it up by the medical establishment, you know, and drugs and things like that, you see, street drugs. So, you know, you've got this, that's the real reason for it, and you've got these Jesuits using the Maltese control, right, of the intelligence network, and they're wishing to discredit Eric John Phelps, right? They have nothing upon him, so the words are highly weak anyway, you know, not to the profane, but they wish him, right, they wish him financially crippled, and all his work discredited. I mean, Eric is hated, right, as he's also a true American sovereign, and that means he's not US chattel property of the Jesuit, right, and their unratified 14th Amendment, unholy Roman US Empire, as I call it, and others. I mean, they cannot milk his labour as they do the profane US, you know, citizen slaves out there. And I'm a citizen officially of Britain, you know, a British citizen or a British subject to the Queen. Load of rubbish. I'm nothing to do with Britain. I'm English, period. And I'm not a corporation. I'm flesh and blood, a man. Right. So anyway, the IRS has been told good and proper by Eric, right, of their role with the Society of Jesus in one of his letters to them. And you know, they'll get diddly squat from Eric. He's told them that, you know. So I mean, if we get back to this US Food and Drug Administration, right, the FDA, this was created by Teddy Roosevelt, right, in 1906. Teddy was a Maltese knight, right, subordinate to the Jesuit assistant, you know, like your New York provincial, and the Small America's navigator, and obviously the Jesuit regional assistant at the time, right? Now, he was linked to the Confederate Jesuit control of the country, right, which stems from New Orleans, you know. The last hurdle was put to rest, right, with his hand in the assassination of William McKinley, you know, the president before him. I mean, this was more important as an assassination, as an event, than the John F. Kennedy, which everybody goes on about, you know. To me, the John F. Kennedy event is like the 2004 hijacking of the election, you know, with the John Kerry incident, right, which ain't quite a hijacking, and the 2000 election of Al Gore. Now, all your agents on the web have, and like Jeff Rense's side, they'll have articles harping on about how Bush stole the 2004 election, but you very rarely will ever see an article where it talks about how he stole the 2000 election against Al Gore, because the reason being is, in reality, the 2000 election was stolen, yeah? Al Gore did have a major amount more votes than Bush, and Rupert Murdoch with his Fox News was a big guy that helped start all the, you know, the hogwash in the media that Bush had won. And I mean, Rupert Murdoch, he's a Hofjuden, Sabatine Frank, he's a Roman Catholic, right? He's a Knight of St Gregory the Great, he's in British intelligence, you know, he's a Knight of Malta, you know, what a shock. So, you know, that was a real, like, coup d'etat sort of thing, if we hadn't have had all these other events in history before that, right? But the 2004 election, that weren't really stolen because Kerry had lost, you know. But yeah, the agents will always just tell you that because it suits them, and you know how they go. So yeah, it was bigger than the JFK incident. JFK is your 2004, a bit more realistic than the 2004 election as such, but still nevertheless nowhere near the beginnings of this problem compared to the assassination of this William McKinley, you know. So in 1901, this was the full destruction of the old United States of America, right? Which was killed off in 1868 with the unratified 14th Amendment, you know, and the incorporating of the land as this corporation called the United States. And that's when it moved from being spelled in lowercase U and S for United States to uppercase, yeah. Which is all part of this corporation maritime UCC system, you know. I mean, remember how the Society of Jesus, right, controlling Napoleon, crippled the, you know, the SMON back in that 1798 again, right? Now, if you look who was made Secretary of the Navy, right, you'll see it was Charles Bonaparte, right, who was a descendant of Napoleon, right? I mean, smell that Jesuit stench. It stinks, you know. It needs bleaching. It needs another reformation, bleaching, to get rid of the stench and the bacteria, right? I mean, remember how the Confederate capital is New Orleans again, like I've said earlier, and how this fourth army of terrorists are down there, you know. All the training of the terrorists, your Blackwaters and all that, you know. Remember, right, how this cretin created the Bureau of Investigation back in, was it July of 1908, right? Then that was later known in 1935 as the FBI, you know. And I mean, that's the Great Inquisition, another Great Inquisition on this Latin land, you know, known as the United States now, which was the once sovereign republic of the United States of America, lowercase u, lowercase s, right? I mean, it's a republic, it's for the people, you know, and the old police officers as such worked for the people. Now it's a corporation, and all the police officers are corporate police, the corporate coppers. That's why they use corporate terms. That's why they call cars vehicles, you know. Is this your vehicle, sir? You was driving this vehicle, sir, you know. And then they say you're driving, you know, because that's a corporate term. Driving means that you've took money off a passenger. You know, you're commercial, you know what I mean? It's corporate. Same as a passenger, that means they've paid you, it's corporate. Yeah, when really they're your guest and you are a traveller in control of your car or carriage, yeah, not a vehicle. And then, you know, that it's a very funny, devious system, this corporate system. So the corporate coppers, you know, and if you listen to how they talk, it's all corporate terms. That's why when they're talking to officially, you know, they'll always use the terms like vehicle and male, female. No straw man's yet again, you know. It's your corporate non-living dead name, male. That's why I now try as hard as possible to call ladies feminine, yeah, and men, I almost slipped up there, men masculine, yeah. Having the true proper terms you should be using, not female and male, straw men. That's why, again, corporate system, corporate coppers will use them in courts of law and when arresting you and questioning you. So you have to know what words mean, because like what Jordan Maxwell says, words, if you take the S and put it at the front, is spelt sword, yeah. and words are cutting like a sword, words start wars, words start fights, occasionally symbols might, like if you stick your fingers up, but the majority of things are caused through words, so you must know what words mean, and understand old English common law, not none of this Roman civil crap, and then this UCC maritime admiralty stuff superimposed over the top of it, so yeah, you got this FBI Great Inquisition on the land of America, and then you've got this Teddy Roosevelt and Charles Bonaparte, and they're both behind there. You've got the FDA, and then you've got this FBI, right? And they're the two bully boys, right, for the Roman system, The FDA promotes poisons and population controls, right, which also make mass profits. The same FDA which demonises all the alternative safe methods of health and nourishment, right, which work, unlike theirs don't. Right? The same FDA controlled by the American Medical Association, right, which is the same AMA which is controlled by David Rockefeller, right, who incidentally is a Maltese knight. The same Rockefeller who's controlled by James Grummer, David Ciancimino, Edward Egan, Queen Elizabeth II, Matthew Festin, and the Supreme Primate, the Pope, and the Superior General of the Jesuits, Adolfo Nicholas. It's the same medical poisoners who promote the poisoning and quackery of vaccination, which came about due to the, that Jesuit soldier, Francis Xavier, and that's a mere tool of theirs to destroy the Protestant Reformation and any other enemies of Rome. They're like these cliques that have spiritual leaders, that are seen as divine, because nobody else can be divine other than this blasphemous Pope, and this unholy Roman Empire. This man and group which rule by an iron axe head, surrounded by many sticks tied together, and that's the fasci, the same fasci where there's two of them in the Congress, the House behind where the President speaks, an old Roman symbol. And remember that iron, right, is the metal associated with the Roman Empire. Gold was with Babylon, silver was with Persia, silver because that's the moon goddess, gold is your Babylon. That'll be linked with Osiris, and then you had brass for the Greece Empire. I think brass has got a linkage with Mercury, but I can't be sure on that one right now. And then you got iron, which was linked with the Roman Empire, which also links to the masculine and the planet Mars, which I might have mentioned in an earlier broadcast. Mars, the god of war, because all the Roman Empire is doing is warring, and then it died there, and then it's coming back again. It's that little horn coming back to take over the whole of the world, not just part of it. So anyway, they're promoting these vaccines to kill us off. I mean, they class us as heretics, cursed over 100 times in the Council of Trent. Which the Jesuits will not get rid of. That says it all, doesn't it, when you think about it? If they're not going to get rid of it still now, then they obviously still follow it. So we see a full-scale attack on Eric Phelps, right? But like I said, it's so weak that it's almost incredible that they've even bothered. We also have them using the Zionist angle, right? Now, if only people knew definitions correctly for words before they abused them. And again, it gets back to what I was saying. Understand words and what you're saying before you say it. Right? Now, in the past, I've been wrong in certain things that I've said in words. We all make errors, but then we have to learn by it. And like when I was very first learning, I first going to David Icke, I was on a site and I was calling America, I was spelling it Ameri, KKKA, something like that, you know. I put the KKK in there, and then I had this American